This is Rainbow Six Extraction. We're here on Xbox Series S for this spin-off entry of the, well, Siege franchise. You see operators come over, you see the same gameplay style come over, but it has been greatly refined. So unlike the Series X version of the game, we actually don't have video options. And I was told it was targeting 4K 60, but I believe it's probably something more like 1440 or something around there. I didn't get specific details like I was hoping for. There's crossplay options as well, because it does actually look quite good, but you can tell it's not perfectly as sharp as the Series X version was when I was playing that. So this is a cooperative experience where you are playing in either, well, you can do it solo, you can go solo, but it gives you a little bit of a little shame sort of cinematic thing that pops up. Or you could properly play it, I guess properly, quote unquote, where it is 3-on-3. There's quick play, matchmaking with crossplay, and you can turn off, crossplay if you don't want it for whatever reason. But it is a PvE game. You're working together to fight against the various enemies and foes that are present. It's got the tactical gameplay that you very likely, will remember from Siege if you're coming from there. Reinforcing things, building stuff, shooting through walls. But you're fighting against these, well, I guess you would say, alien-esque creatures, these parasite things, and you need to defend objectives, you need to tackle different scenarios, you need to improve your skills, you need to kind of upgrade your operators, and it's kind of, it is interesting, but it's definitely very repetitive, if that makes sense. Like, there's few specific goals and missions that you actually have, to kind of work towards. There are like a great selection of maps are present here. They actually do have a good variety, but they have like this artificial grind where you sort of have to really sort of work hard to get new maps available to you, new unlocks, new operators. So this is something that extends over 10 plus hours, and it kind of feels a little grindy at times. Is the biggest thing here, but it is actually fun. It is enjoyable. And it's generally a solid experience. It is something that you can have fun playing cooperatively with others, but you can also, kind of have fun doing it yourself and finding, interesting challenges and stuff. And I like the maps, I like the layouts. I think visually it is actually quite impressive. The game does run, it seems perfectly smooth and fine on the Series S. You might see like a little hiccup every now and then, kind of like on the Series X, but like, it's very minimal. It seems to basically run flawlessly. Feeling that 60 FPS action. There's HDR support. It's kind of got it all going on for it, which is quite great. It feels fluid. It feels intense. It's got like neat visuals. It's got a really gorgeous aesthetic to it. It's got neat challenges. It's got different ways for you to kind of play and battle and tackle all of these different like setups. And there's cool places like in New York, you get like some more outdoor spots, some interior ones. This is like a casino, which is really quite cool. There's like Alaska. There's a wide range of different places for you to battle. And again, doing so alone or with others, and you have different abilities. I've got like the sledgehammer thing, but the doc, super helpful. The doc can revive, the doc can heal himself. Seriously, a standout character. And there's lots of different kind of like ability things you can grab. So you might find health on the map, you might find ammo. You got to be tactical, you got to cooperate, you got to talk as a team to get the job done, to communicate, to do it properly. And it's interesting because you can kind of leave at any time. Like we could, kind of fail this spot and just be like, okay, we're out of here. We can also fail this spot, get to the next airlock, and do that one. You really play it how you want to. And there's different difficulties, and it is hard no matter what difficulty you go for. This is a scenario where like a couple hits will definitely knock you down and cause problems. But it's just like, it's got a neat gameplay mechanic to it. It's got a neat gameplay loop. I do find it to be, entertaining. It's good co-op action. You play it a lot. You can play it over and over again. But just keep in mind, it does tend to get a little boring, a little repetitive. I can definitely feel that is an issue where it's just kind of like, oh, you're doing the same tasks over and over and over again. You're doing them in different maps, and you're kind of, the scenarios aren't necessarily perfectly the same. Like the map layout might be slightly different in regards to the rotation of like which part of the casino or anything you go to, or which part of like a I guess you would say like a police office would be. You go through different steps. You know, you're on the outside one time, the next time you start on the inside. You know, stuff like that. Kind of keeps it a little bit fresh. There's a variety of different enemies that you face. You know, some shoot things, some grab you. There's like little trap things they have on the ground. These parasite monsters. It's again, it is varied to a high degree in that regard. Like good enemy quantity, good map quantity. It's just what you're doing feels very, very repetitive. It's the same setups. It's like grab this, carry this there, shoot this, trap this thing. You know, it just kind of, you feel as though you've done everything so many times that at a certain point it's just kind of like, I don't know. Like it can feel a little grindy to progress is the biggest thing. Is it kind of like, oh, I just want to get to this new area, but it's taking hours and hours and hours to get there, and it feels almost a little unnecessary to do so. But you know, it is still an enjoyable time is what I want to get across. You can have, you know, actually quite a bit of fun playing this with your squad. You can tackle it alone and just play by yourself, but I think it's a lot more fun to actually be in a team, cooperating, talking about stuff, you know, getting the objective finished, coordinating, trying not to get downed, and just trying to survive. You know, you get lots of different tactical items that you can get. You know, you get all kinds of tactical things from like grenades to stun stuff. You know, I find stuns are very helpful. And you kind of just move through this environment, shooting through stuff, breaking things, trying to survive, and then trying to get to that next objective. And sometimes it goes well, and often it really doesn't. And that's half the fun of this one, is the craziness of just trying to survive and trying to make it through to the next area. I find that to be, you know, quite exciting, quite interesting. I love this Vegas setup. It really makes me want a new Rainbow Six Vegas game, which is kind of funny. And you know, like if you're coming from Siege, you're gonna fit right at home here. You know, you're gonna find that this is a very similar experience to that, obviously. But I think they have refined a lot of the gameplay mechanics from Siege, and they've actually improved on a lot of the stuff there, and done some cool things with this one. But it very much is just that repetitive core structuring. 3 things over and over again, you know, trying to make it through to the next spots, bailing if you need to. Kind of funny. And then, you know, the elements of, you know, being a tactical shooter still, trying to survive. Sometimes you may need to actually, like, kind of carry your teammate out if they get down, if they get knocked out. You have to actually, you know, try to carry them out. Your teammates and your operators can get knocked out for like a while, so you actually have to go in and kind of like, some missions your goal is to actually go in and save an operator that you've lost, or other missions it's like, oh, you know, you gotta save this personnel or something like that, or you might be saving your pal's operator in that, and it's got a neat selection of what you're doing, but yet at the same time it's very limited, and I feel like they needed a lot more there gameplay wise in order to, you know, kind of keep things fresh and keep me engaged, where I'm like, oh, we're constantly doing new things, whereas this is just kind of like, you know, we're not really doing new things, we're kind of doing the same thing multiple times, and that can drag on and on, especially the more you play it, you know, the more it kind of like, it feels as if there's just, you know, a lot going on, or, you know, actually you can feel quite overwhelmed at times with the amount of enemies, which is kind of neat, especially at those higher difficulty settings. What I'm saying is like, oh, I've done this task a million times in this scenario, and it's like over and over and over again, and, you know, that can feel a little tiring. And it can become like, oh, I'm a little bored of this, and that can be a big issue. But I think they've actually put together a decent gameplay loop. I think if they add content to this one, it can be quite interesting. I also think that they've got some neat, like, rotating options, like playlist type things that pop up, so that's kind of neat. It does seem to run quite well, though. I haven't noticed any sort of real, you know, performance issues or bugs or anything like that. It all seems to just handle, you know, quite well. It seems to be well polished. It seems to be decently well as the next-gen experience. And it's that Siege gameplay you like, but not necessarily a focus on Siege action. Like, you know, you're not really, like, it's mostly like a cool thing that these creatures that come through the walls and stuff. But you're not specifically like using the walls. You can use stealth and stuff, and you can be tactical in that way. You can look around like walls and stuff, and you know, that's all a thing that's present here, but it's not to the same degree as, you know, kind of the main siege line where it's like, I need to shoot through these walls. And a lot of the operators, they don't really have perks that necessarily serve a purpose, if that makes sense. Like, they're just kind of characters that are present, and I think that is a little disappointing that they couldn't maybe do some further adjustments to some of the characters to make them more fit into this, you know, I guess you would say spin-off or continuation or expansion over the, you know, main Siege storyline and everything like that, or the main Siege franchise. And I just kind of wanted a little bit more there, but I do find this to be an intriguing game. It's fun. I'm a little bit curious about like the long term of it, but I think they did actually put together something that I find kind of to be engaging. It's a solid time, but it is something that is just quite repetitive, and it's just over and over and over again, and it doesn't go, you know, much further than that. It's just kind of like, hey, this is what you do. As you can tell there, I've got like 17 hours on this already, and it's like, I still don't feel as though I have fully grasped, or not grasped, but fully gotten everything available to me. It feels grindy in that way, but you can obviously play it, spend a lot of time playing it, and not necessarily feel too, like, kind of like, you won't have issues playing the game. You'll be like, okay, this is fine, this is, you know, something I deal with. It's just like a loop of, hey, it's getting a little boring. I wish I had more content available to me right now, instead of like really slowing the trickle for which I get access to stuff. And it does load pretty quick too, different layouts for different scenarios, you know, the different maps all feel different. So it's a fine game. It gets the job done. I think it is definitely something within the Tom Clancy universe that is intriguing. It'll be neat to see how they kind of maybe grow it and scale it over time, but for what they have now, it's fairly solid, and I had fun playing it, cooperatively. It was interesting to tackle it by myself, and I'm sure others will find it to be intriguing as well, as they dive in there and try to handle the scenarios that are present within this new take on the Siege universe, because I know a lot of people love Siege and a lot of people love Rainbow, so it should be interesting to see generally the reactions of this, and I hope you enjoy just some more regular gameplay of this in action.
Find a catalyst emitter. Strange environmental artifacts are manifesting in certain areas, and they react to our emitters. Activate the catalyst emitter. The anomalies will react like fiery neurons. It started. Head to the first zone.
Initiating data transfer.
Archeans are moving to your location.
Data transfer complete.
Move to the next scanning zone.
I'm reloading.
Reloading!
Initiating data transfer.
Head Enemy inbound.
Laying down smoke.
Data transfer complete.
Get data at the next scanning zone.
Taking contact! Oh!
Vital signs critical.
I'm reloading.
Initiating data transfer.
I'm detecting hostile movement. Multiple targets.
Reloading!
You kept your feet in the zone long enough despite all those enemies.
I'm dry!
Nothing left to do here, but there's more in the next subzone. You're reaping the rewards of your efforts. Don't stop just yet.
I have ammo.
Airlock sequence initiated. Airlock sequence. Subzone transition in effect.
Our MIA operator is our top priority. Parasite must have dragged them somewhere. Stay sharp.